Thank you for joining me. My name is Diego from the Hip Music Studio, and in this video, I would like to give you a couple of ideas regarding what is the process like to take guitar lessons. Because one thing that we see all the time is that students, they want to learn guitar, but sometimes they don't know what it involves. And I can tell you it's harder than other instruments that we teach. Especially today, I wanted to almost do a little comparison between piano and guitar and tell you the main differences so hopefully you can make a decision or your child can make a decision if guitar is a good fit for you. So one of the main things that I want to say, and I have a couple of cameras set up to get close-ups of the guitar, but in piano, you pretty much just push a key and you're gonna get a tone. So piano works is very straightforward because the instrument does a lot of the heavy lifting of like producing the tone. Now, a good thing about piano is that we can teach piano by teaching you how to play just with the right hand and just with the left. So it's one hand at a time type of thing. And we can also teach you without having you move your hands. That all is great. That's a lot harder to do in guitar, and I'll show you here in a close-up a couple of things that I mean. So I'm trying to give you there two angles, one of my right hand and one of my left hand. Now, one thing that happens in guitar is like when in the right hand, which is, let me start by explaining a couple things regarding that. In the right hand, we're gonna have to play very, almost like precisely. It's very short movements. You're gonna play each one of the strings. Let's say I wanna play string 1. I wanna play string, let's say 6. So I need to make sure that I don't do big movements. So it's almost like a fine motor skill. Now you're gonna hold the pick. We recommend holding the pick a little bit similar that if you had a pencil. So one of the interesting things about this is that you don't wanna do really big movements because it then becomes a lot harder to be precise. Now, the other thing that here it gets, I guess, interesting is that what the left hand is doing is very, very different. So let's talk a little bit about the left there so I can show you. The left hand, one of the main things about it is that you need to be very precise on where you're putting your hands. So, or your fingers. My finger needs to be right next to the fretboard. So right next to the little bar that makes the notes be a different note. So one thing that happens in guitar is not only we need to get very good placement of my left hand, but at the same time I need to grip and put enough strength so the note sounds good. So for example, if I show you this, if I play with my right hand, and my right hand is doing its job, but the left hand is not, I'm not gonna get a tone. Now, if I put my left hand in the place that it needs to go and I push, I can get a clear tone. But as soon as my left hand is not doing a good job and it's not pressing correctly, you start getting these bust out notes that are not very pleasant. So not only guitar has very specific movement here and a lot of precision on the left hand, including being precise and putting pressure, but you also need to have the hands work together to produce any kind of like note. So I need to both move my hands at the same time, get the fingers where they need to go, and get a clear tone. So it's almost like that is a huge difference within piano because we can get you to, okay, let's just push the right hand, let's just push the left. In piano, one thing that happens is that in the first, let's say 6 to 8 lessons, we can probably do them just one hand at a time. Once you get into what we consider our level 2, then you're starting to do two hands at the same time. Now in guitar, right off the bat, I mean, we can show you some ideas in the first class of kind of like just do things with each hand, but very quickly we need you to play with two. And one thing that for me is very interesting is that process of let me get the basics down, you cannot skip it. For example, one thing that is very critical in guitar is that your thumb gets in the right place. Because when we squeeze, you squeeze with mostly your front fingers would hold, but you put the pressure with your thumb. Power in the hand comes from the thumb. It's almost like that's where the muscle is. So in order for you to squeeze, how hard can you squeeze something if you just don't use your thumb? It's no, we need the thumb to actually be able to get a good grip. And a lot of students put the thumb in a way that doesn't make any sense. You know, put it out here. They put it almost very sideways or put it very high. So then they don't have enough strength. Now, one thing that I almost feel about guitar, I quit guitar when I was young. I tried it. My first instrument is organ and piano. And I was doing fine with that. And then I tried guitar. I was like, oh, let me try it. I hated it. I felt very like inadequate, very like it wasn't for me, like there was something wrong with me. Much later in life, I tried it again, and I came to the conclusion that mainly first, I didn't have proper guidance. I didn't have the proper instrument, but no one explained to me that process of how do you get through the basics takes time. And the thing is, it takes a lot longer than in piano. So if you have two siblings and one is doing piano, one is doing guitar, the one doing piano on the first 12 lessons is going to go literally like 5 times faster than the one playing guitar, because you do have to get through the movements, the coordination between the hands, the work in the hands as a team to be able to do things correctly. And let me show you one more thing here too, because I think it's almost like very interesting about this. You need to squeeze hard with my left hand, and you need to play softly with my right hand. So if I squeeze correctly and I play softly, I get a nice tone. If I do the opposite and if I squeeze very like softly with my left hand and play hard with my right hand, you get this bust out tone that is very unusable. So it's almost like in your mind, you have to be able to switch. Okay, I need to play hard here, but play soft here, and put this correctly. So to put it simply, I think it's a lot more variables. You're doing all of these things that have so many little nuances, which also I think is part of the reason that students get lost very, very quickly in the process, because there's so many variables that if you're watching a video, you may be missing one of the steps and maybe like, okay, I'm doing it, but it doesn't sound, but I don't know why. Well, it may be one of the things. That's, I think, what we as teachers do. Pinpoint, okay, like, look, your thumb is not in the right place. That's why you can't get it to sound. So for us, we really believe in helping people go through this process. That's, what we do here. But at the same time, we believe in putting information out there so students can know that if you're going to go through guitar, you do have to be patient, and you do have to go through some exercises and things that we have. We can give you all of the exercises and the steps and do them in this order and for this long. The point is that I think some students don't want to do that because they feel like it should be like piano. That is like, I don't have to spend a lot of energy and I should almost be getting a result. I can tell you this, in piano, it almost gets inverted. And when you're 20 lessons in, it becomes a lot harder, because then you are going to be playing with two hands and you have a lot more mechanics between the two hands and working as a team. So it's almost like the beginning, if we had a little graph, the beginning of guitar is particularly challenging, then it gets easier. The opposite happens to piano. Piano is very easy at the beginning, but then it gets more challenging. So hopefully this video can be a good way for students and parents to have a good gauge if guitar is for you. Now, I would say this, any instrument, if you want to be good at, you're going to have to be patient, because it just doesn't happen overnight. And you can't really skip the mileage that you need in order to break through those basic abilities. So you have to put in the work. But at the same time, I can tell you this, also from my background of playing piano, you can't take a piano to the beach. You can't take a piano as easily nowadays on an airplane. But God, the guitar is so interesting, so portable, so fun to I don't know, to do a party at your house and take it on the backyard and play with other people and have people sing. It's a very cool instrument. It's great for songwriting. So both instruments, I think, have very unique things to them that make them special. And I think it's definitely one that if you want to pay your dues, you can definitely get a lot of fun out of it. So hopefully that video or this video is a little bit of a good idea into what guitar is like. If you want more information about us, check our main website, thehitmusicstudio.com, where you can take lessons with me or anyone else here that works for us as a music educator. We'll see you guys soon, and we want to thank you for watching. Take care.